This is the plaintiff, Karen Jefferson. She says she was living in a two-family house, and the defendant purchased it about a year later. A few months after that, she was relocated to Florida. She gave the defendant the required 30 days notice, and when she asked about the return of her security, the lying defendant claims she never received it from the previous owner at the time of the sale. Well, that's not her problem. She's here suing for the $2,250 she surely owed. This is the defendant, Ole Dele Ajayi. She says the plaintiff never gave her a security deposit directly. So why should she be responsible for returning it? She never received any money from the previous owner and thinks the plaintiff is suing the wrong person. Also thinks the judge will agree with her today. She's accused of refusing to pay up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff was living happily in a house the defendant bought, and when the plaintiff moved out, the defendant screwed the plaintiff on security. But the defendant says she never got security from the plaintiff or the previous owner. It's the case of not living happily ever after.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Karen Jefferson, you are suing your former landlord, Ole Dele Ajayi. Good enough? For $2,250, $1,920 of it security deposit, and according to you, $330 in interest on the security deposit. We'll talk about that in a second. What happened here?
Prior to Ole, the previous owner rented an apartment, went through a management company, and...
How long did you live there?
For a year.
For a year or 4 years? 1 year. Okay.
1 year. And I was offered a job position to Florida, so I got the job position. I notified the plaintiff the defendant that
So she bought it during your 1 year tenancy?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you said, I'd need my security deposit back, and her answer was?
When she went as in closing, she said that she asked about it, because prior to that, I talked to her realtor, and he called me asking me, did I have a security deposit? And I said yes, and he asked me how much, and I told him the $1,950. And he said, oh, okay, I'll get that during the closing. So then when I talked to her physically on the phone and stuff, she said, yeah, I asked about the deposit and nothing was said. She said she had to take out a personal, I guess a suing the old landlord of the money.
What happened?
Deposit.
About the house around August, at the closing table, I asked for the security deposit. If there is any security deposit that belongs.
Who did you ask that of?
Oh, I asked on the closing table.
You asked at the closing table?
Yes.
When the checks were already prepared. Hey, wait a second. What about a security deposit? Why, did you have a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
Why didn't your lawyer ask that?
It was there. I asked if there is any security deposit, and he said yes. Then I asked for the check.
Okay.
And he said he's going to be giving
Who's he?
The lawyer.
Your lawyer or their lawyer?
My lawyer said he asked for it already, that the realtor or the seller's lawyer said it's going to be given to me the following week.
Okay, then it wasn't.
It wasn't. I think like 5 or 6 days after, the seller of the house disengaged the flowing of the water in the house, even before we move in, even before the keys were given to me. So because Karen was there, I was like, no, we can't do this. So I have to go to the water corporation. Then I paid. So my lawyer said I paid for the water, and
there was a back bill that the landlord had, that the prior owner hadn't paid.
Yes.
Why isn't your lawyer finding all this stuff out before the closing? Because that's kind of the lawyer's job.
So is the defendant responsible for giving the plaintiff the security back, whether the defendant got it or not?
No, he's not.
Why?
It's because he wasn't there for the initial contract or anything else like that. So
the defendant bought the house, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't in contract, like he said, with the original owner, so he didn't get any money or anything.
We will see about that going inside the courtroom.
My lawyer promised to give me the check for the security deposit and the water
and
for
the water bill. Yeah.
Yes, about $600 and something.
Yeah.
But they have to pay me back. They have to credit
Who
my
has
account.
to pay you back?
The water corporation.
They're not paying you back. They're calling it a credit. That's what they'll do. But I don't know,
Exactly.
maybe they'll come in, I know my water people wouldn't pay me. They're just going to call it a credit, and then you have to fill out all kinds of forms. If you want
Exactly.
it
That's what I
back,
do.
you have to hand them your firstborn. Yeah, I cannot believe how many people are treating you wrong. Unbelievable. But here's the thing. You have all the power at the closing table, and you kind of lose it after that. Now you got to chase people. I got to tell you, there's only one person here who is not going to chase anybody, and that's her. And I'm going to explain why. I believe every word you're saying. I believe you never saw the security deposit from the prior landlord. It just doesn't matter. Right. When you buy a property, you buy it with all its assets and its liabilities. And this is one of its liabilities.
I never knew it's going to be like this.
I know. I believe you with every fiber of my being. I know. So you are going to have to file a small claims case against, you have two choices. You tell your lawyer, hey, how did this happen? I'm going to file a bar complaint against you if you don't help me. So hustle up. Get off your chair and get some, help me to get this money, because your lawyer is sitting back filing his or her nails instead of worrying about you. And I don't like it, because this is part of the job at closing, is to figure out, make sure that his client gets everything they're supposed to get, okay? So that's one. Or two, if you're sick of your lawyer, you can always file a small claims case yourself. But you got to do something to get both these monies back now. And I know you didn't bank on this, but I'll tell you who really didn't bank on chasing anybody, and that's her. She did not destroy the place. She's entitled to her money. I'm going to order you to pay her money. When you leave here, I'm going to have a written order for you so that you can show it to the next judge and say, look, I had to pay her back the money, because you should definitely get your money back from that seller. And your lawyer should definitely help you to get it back. Because I can't believe everybody's sitting around the closing table going, yep, there's that security deposit, yep. And nobody knows that there's money due to utilities and everything else. This is really bad for you. You're not entitled to that interest. I don't know how you calculated the interest.
Well, it was the traveling back and forth and the...
No, that's not how it works. You're entitled to the entire security deposit plus the statutory interest on your security deposit, which is not going to be anywhere near the amount you calculated. But you are entitled to those things plus your court costs, of course. You should be made completely whole. And that's what's going to happen here today. Good luck to you. Verdict for the plaintiff.
All right, thank you.
So what turned out to be a relatively simple decision for the judge, the plaintiff gets her security deposit back. She gave you some good advice, too, that you really should go back talk to your lawyer again. You can do that?
I have to do that.
No question, yeah. Something wrong happened at that closing.
Yes, and it cost me a lot of things because, going back and front to his office, sending text messages, even coming here, I couldn't go to work for the past 2 days because I'm coming here today. So it's so sad.
All right. Well, I'm sorry for what you went through, but at least you got some good advice. And you'll get a document from the judge that'll prove it, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You'll sign some documents on your way out. Ms. Jefferson's on her way out. All right. You didn't get everything you wanted, but you're getting security back, court costs, all that?
Yes, I got the bulk of it. And it's so sad. She's such a beautiful person.
Yeah, she seems very nice.
Very
Absolutely.
nice. Her and I corresponded very well, and it's not even her fault.
Okay.
It's the lawyers and
Good.
her fault.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
you.
Okay. Interesting case, Harvey. What do you think?
Well, Doug, it's pretty simple. The person who buys the house buys it subject to all of the liabilities of the prior owner.